What if I told you that when Steph Curry plays one game in Toronto, he pays more in taxes than most Americans earn in 4 years? That's his earnings going to a city, in fact a country, he doesn't even reside in. In 2018, Steph Curry made $37 million. It's not quite what I make, but it's a lot. Well, by the time federal, state, and a super secret special tax took their cut, he kept less than half. So, why are all these cities taxing visiting NBA players? Well, it's called the Jock Tax, and it's all Michael Jordan's fault. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why professional athletes file tax returns in 20 different states, and what they're doing to fight back. By the way, I'm Bennington.
I'm Dan Carr, former internal auditor, professional accounting nerd, tax specialist, and for better or for worse, a Phoenix Suns fan.
And this is Sports Accounting Secrets, where we break down the smart money moves that affect the games we love. So if you love sports, if you love money, the time to hit the subscribe button is now. June 1991, Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls demolish Magic Johnson's Lakers to win their first NBA championship. A few weeks later, Jordan's accountant gets a letter from the state of California.
California sent Jordan a bill for about 10 grand. They claimed, look, you earned the money in our state, you owe us taxes on it. They calculated about how many days Jordan spent in California during the finals, and they taxed his income accordingly.
As a resident, why am I not surprised California came up with a new way to tax people? Hold on. Okay, the franchise tax board is calling me. This place must be bugged. Can we cut that?
Now, Jordan was already the highest paid player in basketball. 10 grand wasn't anything that he couldn't make back in more than a few card games. But Illinois, they did not take kindly to sore losers taxing their NBA Finals hero. So when State Senator John Cullerton saw California taxing Michael Jordan, he thought, well, wait a minute, why aren't we taxing Magic Johnson?
They nicknamed the bill Michael Jordan's Revenge, which, incidentally, is the name of the Space Jam sequel spec script I wrote. If anyone at home has any connections to the industry, feel free to reach out.
The bill passes easily, and suddenly, other states are paying attention. Remember, this is the early 90s. States are facing financial hardships, athlete salaries are exploding, and MTV is still playing music videos. Well, they couldn't figure out a way to tax TRL, so they figured taxing athletes is the simplest path forward for states to start crawling out of their budget deficits.
And let's be honest, athletes are the easiest people to tax. Their work history is public. What do you mean you weren't working in Phoenix on February 2nd? I just watched it. You lost me my fantasy matchup. Thanks.
By the mid-90s, almost every state with a professional sports team and an income tax has implemented some version of it. And that includes coaches, trainers, the Phoenix Suns gorilla. Anyone that travels with the team gets hit. If you're traveling state to state earning money, you're filing multiple tax returns.
Okay, so how does the Jock Tax actually work? Well, the income tax bracket, Dan, you want to get this one for me?
All right, we already know I'm a Suns fan, so we're going to use Bradley Beal as our example. In the 2024 season, he made $53 million. Don't tell me that's too much. I already know. The way the Jock Tax works, though, is through something called duty days. The NBA calculates about, you have, 170 duty days, which means like games, practices, teams, activities, things like that. So you take his annual salary, you divide it by the number of duty days, and that tells you what he earns per day. So for Bradley Beal, this was $315,000 per day. Now, when Beal plays 2 games in New York looks at this and says, okay, he was here for 2 days. He earned roughly $630,000. We have a state tax rate of about 6.85%. The city adds on another 3.65%. So for 2 games, Beal would owe over $66,000 in Jock taxes.
Not only is this almost every state he's visiting, that's on top of federal taxes. In total, roughly 45% of NBA players' income goes to taxes. Now, most states tried to be relatively uniform about this, but some were, shall I say, excessively greedy.
Tennessee was the most infamous. In the early 2000s, they implemented a flat tax of $2,500 per game for visiting NHL and NBA players. Didn't matter how much you made, everyone paid the same amount. which is insane because there were NBA players on minimum contracts making a measly $458,000 a year. Divide that by about 100 duty days, and they're making maybe $4,500 per day. But Tennessee is charging them $2,500 in taxes.
Now, I'm not Canadian, so I couldn't even venture to guess what hockey players make, but I have to imagine it's much worse. Tennessee's flat tax was repealed in 2014, after both players' unions applied pressure. But that's the pattern. States try and tax, and it's up to the unions to fight back. Now that you know how extreme things get, here's the real question for sports fans. Is there any free agent advantage for living in a state with no income tax?
There was a study done by ABC's 538 that looked at every championship from 2000 to 2020. They wanted to see if teams in low tax or no tax states had some sort of advantage.
Let me guess. New Hampshire wins every year?
No correlation whatsoever. Massachusetts, a high tax state, was at the top. Shout out Tom Brady. Nevada was second, but only because they hit jackpot with the Vegas Golden Knights expansion. California and New Jersey, both high tax states, were also in the top 10.
Okay, Mass is Boston and New Jersey is really New York City. So it sounds like athletes prefer living in big market cities over skipping out on taxes.
Maybe. Plus, players only play half of their games at home. So if you're on the Miami Heat, no Florida income tax, but you're still paying Jock Tax in every other state you visit. Over an 82-game season, it basically evens out. Arizona actually has one of the lowest effective Jock Tax rates in the entire country, which has resulted in multiple attempts at championships. Plus, there's this reciprocal credit system. If you're a Bulls player and you pay California taxes, Illinois gives you a credit for that amount, so you're not double taxed.
Okay, the accountant audience is loving this, but why don't you dumb it down for the sports audience, i.e., me?
Basically, states aren't really generating much revenue from each other. They're just creating a massive accounting headache.
And here's how this affects you. Do you enjoy your remote work job? Buckle up. Michael Jordan just made your tax season hell.
41 states charge income tax, and about half of them require you to pay it if you work there for even a single day. That's a law for everybody, not just athletes. States just don't bother enforcing it for most people. But with remote work exploding after COVID, states are starting to pay attention. If you're a company in California with 10,000 employees and 6,000 of them are working from Texas or Florida, California is losing that tax revenue.
Oh no, not California.
Some states are starting to pressure large employers to track where their employees are working and withhold taxes accordingly. It's not widespread yet, but tax experts are warning it could become the norm. There is legislation making the rounds that would create a 30-day grace period, but it's been introduced every year since 2012 and never passed.
Oh, let me guess who's blocking that.
California collected more than $170 million from professional athletes, and that was in 2010. Imagine the money that they're able to pull in today, as well as other high tax states.
Wow, 170 million. I make a little more than that, but it's a lot for sure.
Ben, how much do you really make?
Please. Talking about money is so gross. Unless you're talking about the intersection of money and sports, which we do all the time on this channel. So if you made it this far, why not hit us with a like and a subscribe? Any final thoughts, Dan?
As a basketball fan, Jordan is the second best to ever do it. As an accountant, he's hands down the worst.
Second best? Really? Well, now we know what the comment section's gonna be about. And honestly, why don't you guys start a little war down there to drive up the engagement? And we'll see you next time on Sports Accounting Secrets.